When you think of haunted objects, what comes to mind? An old, dusty mirror, a cursed doll with vacant eyes, maybe an abandoned painting that seems to watch you. Well, this story is different. It doesn't start with any of those things. It starts with a book with no title, no author, no publishing date, just pages that refused to stay quiet, and anyone who dared to read it was never the same again. Back in 2013, a college student named Arav moved to Pune to start his graduation. He found a cheap, dusty apartment filled with junk left behind by previous tenants. One night, while cleaning out an old wooden cupboard, Arav discovered a thin brown book. Its leather cover was cracked with age. There were no markings on it at all, but it had a strange smell, like burnt incense and rain-soaked paper. As he tried to open it, the pages felt warm, almost like skin. His roommate laughed, saying it looked like a prop from a horror movie. They just tossed it aside and forgot about it. But later that night, the cupboard door slowly creaked open all by itself. The book had fallen out onto the floor. Curious, Arav picked it up and opened it. The first page had a single, chilling sentence. "Write the name of the one you fear." He chuckled, thinking it was just some edgy prank. He flipped through the rest of the pages. They were all blank, every single one. But then he saw it. At the bottom corner of the very last page, written in faint pencil, were 4 words: "The book writes back." A shiver went down his spine, but he quickly brushed it off. That night, around 3:12 a.m., he was woken up by the sound of rustling paper. He switched on the light. The book was lying open on his desk, its pages turning one by one, slowly, as if an invisible hand was reading invisible lines. The moment he touched it, the pages stopped. The next morning, Arav decided to test it. He scribbled a random name on that first page, his professor's name, and shut the book. He went to class, but the professor never showed up. A rumor started spreading that he'd fallen down the stairs at his house and fractured his leg. A coincidence, Arav told himself. But his curiosity was turning into an obsession. He started writing more names. Friends who annoyed him, people he barely knew. Each time he wrote a name, something would happen to that person. It wasn't death or a terrible accident. It was fear. Unexplainable nightmares. Sudden panic attacks. Crying for no reason. Some even temporarily lost their voice. Arav finally understood. The book didn't kill. It fed. It fed on fear. His roommate saw what was happening and begged him to get rid of it. But Arav was hooked. He needed to know where this book came from. He went to his landlord, and when he asked about it, the landlord's face went pale. He told Arav that the previous tenant was a college professor who specialized in ancient Indian scripts and forbidden manuscripts. One night he died unexpectedly, sitting in his chair holding a pen, staring at that very same book. The police found no signs of foul play, but the neighbors, they told a different story. They said they heard the sound of pages turning all night long, right up until the sun came up. The landlord warned Arav to burn the book. Some pages, he said, don't want to be closed, but Arav refused to listen. A few days later, Arav noticed something new in the book, a name written in handwriting that wasn't his. The name was Aarav Shetty. His heart dropped into his stomach. He frantically tried to erase it, but the ink just reappeared. He tried to burn the page, but it refused to catch fire. Then, on the next blank page, more words appeared. "Fear is the purest ink." That night, Arav had a terrifying dream. He was in a vast, dark library filled with hundreds of blank books, each one whispering, each one hungry for a name. When he woke up, his roommate was gone. All that was left were his wallet and keys on the table. Arav grabbed the book. On its final page, in new, fresh handwriting, was one last sentence. One name must stay. He finally understood. The book needed a name to hold onto like a bookmark, a soul to anchor itself to this world. And it had chosen his. Unable to fight it any longer, Arav packed the book and fled the apartment. The next person who moved in found the cupboard completely empty. But months later, a cleaning staff at Ferguson College reported seeing a young man sitting near the library stairwell, silently turning the pages of a thin brown book. When she asked him what he was reading, he looked up with empty eyes and replied, "I'm just looking for a name to replace mine." The staff member never saw him again. But a week later, a student reported something strange to the librarian. A nameless brown book had been left on a reading table. Its first page read, "Write the name of the one you fear." Most horror stories end with a warning. This one begins with one. If you ever find a book with no title, no author, no publishing date, don't open it. Because while most books are meant to be read, some books read you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more.